Hello, beautiful, amazing world, and you, individual out there. Today, I would like to speak about to deepen oneself, to deepen yourself, to have a lofty and an intellectual way of seeing things in a higher way. It's pretty easy because it is in many ways abstract. You put different groups into different categories and don't think much about it. But when you deepen yourself, when you go into your body and you try to be more earthly in a sense, where you are here on this planet and where we are trying to make this existence of ours on this beautiful, beautiful earth more valuable, more feelful, more emotionally and more presently in tune. It's hard to explain this, but the more you get to know yourself as a human being, the more you get to go deeper into your own existence, your ego, and not your egotism, but your I, your ego, which is a macrocosmic center on Earth, by the way, which is higher than any of the microcosmic powers. You get to be more truthful to yourself and everyone around you. To be truthful to yourself, first and foremostly, is so important. How many times haven't we lied to ourselves? How many times haven't we lied to others just because we didn't want to feel that discomfort? But that discomfort is just as much part of our value and compass for morals and ethics in the first place. Morals and ethics does not float around on the surface of our body. It truly is deep within. And when you are in tune and can sit inside your body in a true way, when you know yourself, and when you anchor yourself as an anchorage for truth, and for whatever might happen, you still take it head on, no matter how painful it is, or no matter how joyful it is, because you might go outside of your body in the first place by rapture. By rapture, you go beyond yourself, and by pain, you go inside yourself. But do you try to distract yourself away from pain, or do you try to feel it and trying to understand it and knowing where it comes from? Karma, for example. We are no perfect beings, and we have gone through a whole lot of things that brings about consequences and different changes to this planet. And the karma and the pain and the discomfort we often feel is a balancing out of what we might have done earlier. The more we get to accept ourselves in both pleasure, pains, and anything in between, the more you get to know what a human being is. Observing yourself, study others, but not in a way where they feel like you are penetrating through them and seeing everything and using it against them. Never. That is the biggest crime of spirituality you can do. To use spirituality as control, as manipulation, oppression. It is meant to uplift, to speak truth, to bring about individualization of culture. We have been a whole, then we have gone down to tribals, to tribes, to countries, to culture, and now we are to individual, and now we are going upwards again, from individual to culture to the world again, but individually. It's hard to explain it, but it is stages to this. And it takes time. But what is required is actually work to do so. We can't wait for someone to do this. We should grab a hold of the evolution you yourself can find out about. To find out who you are and deepen it. Not only go high, but also deep. Both high and deep. And balancing these. Not becoming bony, not becoming scleric, more or less. Sclerotic, I mean. And bony and dry and only the material, the physical, but also being beautiful and slimy, maybe. Like Alan Watts told earlier, people think you are prickles or goo, but the reality is we are gooey prickles and prickly goo. And they are kind of married to each other, but the marriage has to be conscious. The marriage has to be balanced out consciously. And when they are in together, you have a best of both worlds. The intelligent, clever minds of a scientist, but also a beautiful and expressive and fancy, elegant of the other side, of the goo. The scientist is the prickles in this regard. And the artist is the goo. Blend them together and you have the perfect human being. Not the perfect, but you have the perfect balance of a human being. It's so important to balance out what has become physical out in this world in human masses. It is so obvious, you see it, how the schism where we are split in two. When the reality is we are staying in the middle, and in the middle is where the balance is. The middle is so important. Once we start infighting, once we start to fight each other, just because of some disagreements we barely understand in the first place, we truly have lost ourselves. But by truly taking care, being sincere, curious, loving, in the search and in the growth of spirituality and humanity, you are given guidance. You are given different things to experience. You are given different opportunities. You are given different human beings that come to you, and you learn something from them. They learn something from you, and so it goes on. It is a wonderful, wonderful interplay of coexistence and cooperation. Beautiful co-creation. The more you get to know this, the more you get to live this, the more it becomes like breathing. It becomes a value, it becomes a loving value, a love for duty. And there is a difference between doing duty because it is the right thing and loving to do the duty because it's the right thing. Because you know it's the right thing and you want to do it. Not because I was told, not because I will end up in hell, not because there will be consequences, but because you love to do it. There is a huge difference. Huge difference. The intention is everything. Learn to love the duty of the divine. To be a human being, to find out what it is to be a human being. Humanness is something wonderfully, wonderfully beautiful. And to find out what it's about is a responsibility of all of us. And what better to do than to start loving that responsibility, where it becomes a joy to do this, where it becomes your honor. You are honored to be chosen to do this, because what the hell? Why wouldn't you? We have 24 hours a day, and how many awake moments do you have there to take care of yourself and deepen yourself? There are many excuses to say, yeah, I don't have time, and so, no. 24 hours. Don't you have time anything in there? Don't you seriously have any time in these 24 hours? I don't believe you. No one believes this. But we do not judge and we do not condemn them for it. They have to find out for themselves by seeing others doing differently as examples. By being an example, you are a catalyst for change, obviously. People can fight it, of course, but that would only be painful when you show the results of what you're doing. And the results is good living, moral and ethical and loving living with understanding and with intellect and being smart about it. And not be some kind of clever animal or mechanical process that is just walking by in life, eating, sleeping, procreating, and doing what you do every day the same every day. It is not life. That is clockwork. Of course, the universe is a clockwork, but this clockwork is alive and it changes. And someone made that clock, if we are even going to call it a clockwork, but it is not though. That was just, I think, I see the zodiac circle more or less as kind of a cosmic clock. But I digress. Everything is alive. Everything is forming, shaping, and especially in the spiritual realm. It takes a little more time here on Earth because, of course, because we are more dense, compacted down. The spiritual world is more finer, much more sublime. And being human is a fine combination of them, of condensation and dissolution. The balance. Prickly goo and gooey prickles. Thank you, Alan Watts, for that analogy. I heard it many years ago, and I just can't help remembering it. Yeah, I think this was everything for today. May the divine and the hierarchy and Christ and all the ancestors and ascended masters of old guide us on this beautiful path to evolution, growth, and deepening. Thank you, everyone. Love you. Thanks for listening to me. Goodbye.